I was going to wait a little while to talk about this because I have a sneaking suspicion this won't be the last desperate marketing attempt we'll see from this film, but I just can't resist the urge anymore. It's like trying to hold in a sneeze, just trying to fight my desire to make fun of what I just saw a couple days ago. To set the stage, Pixar has released a new film and it's become the second worst opening in all of Pixar history. It's looking to be a bit of a flop here. And there's a very good chance that you haven't even heard of the new Pixar film. It's called Elemental. It really flew under the radar. The marketing budget had to be like 5 popsicle sticks and like word of mouth. I don't really know what they were thinking here or expecting because most people didn't even know this was on the horizon here. There was about as much hype for Elemental as there is going to the DMV. Most people didn't even know it was coming, and the ones that did just didn't really care to go see it, so it's not performing super well. And it appears that the higher-ups at Disney are starting to panic. So they're dusting off the oldest tricks in the marketing book here to try and convince people that the film is popular and worth going to a theater to see. Because a lot of people would probably choose to go to a fucking dentist's office as opposed to going to a theater to see Elemental right now. So they're trying everything. And that's when they came up with this absolute shining stinker of a viral marketing campaign idea.
Save it for the wedding. Hey!
Yo, yo, yo!
Before finishing the clip, I just have to call this out immediately. This is a legitimate post from the official Pixar Elemental Twitter post saying, #Claude's got the whole theater rooting for him. Check him out in Elemental. And this is like supposed to be one of those POV things in a theater where sometimes you'll see a viral video during a big moment in a movie where someone gets their phone out to film the audience reaction. Like, you know, here's how the audience responded to Tony Stark coming back from the dead, and the crowd's going crazy like, whoa, yeah, Tony's back, wee! And it's supposed to like capture that moment. That's what they tried here with this film. This is supposed to be like authentic, like look at how hyped the crowd got to see Claude from Elemental. Which makes no fucking sense because this film is brand new. It doesn't tie into anything. No one would know who the fuck Claude is going into this film. And yet for some reason we're supposed to believe that the entire audience just blew up. Like this sounds like they just watched their home team win the Super Bowl. All just because they got to bear witness to Claude popping out of some pot. It just doesn't make any sense. But I love how they try to pass it off like, man, look at how everyone loves Claude. They can't get enough of Claude. Look at him go crazy. And then it's just like stock cheering sound effects you can find on like any royalty-free database for stock sounds ever. It's beautiful. Like this reminds me of that Morbius clip where someone made a fake Morbius voiceover from the theater where they were filming the screen and then he says, "It's Morbin time." And the crowd goes like, yeah, yeah! And since barely anyone had seen that film since it was such a box office disaster, a lot of people actually believed that that line was in the movie. Even to this day, they still think that that clip that went viral is real. And he actually says, "It's Morbin time." I mean, sorry to ruin Christmas for you. That's actually not there. That was just made as a joke. Where it's supposed to be like, look at how great Morbius is. More billion fans all over the place. The biggest franchise of all time. And that was just supposed to be like a joke, like cheering thing for that line. That's not real. But Disney's taking that energy and trying to use it as an actual marketing arm for this film because it's floundering so hard in the box office. So let me just play the rest of it real quick before we go back to talking about it.
Anyway, June Bloom is coming, and you just got to be my date. Cause check it out. I'm all grown up. And I smell good.
What in tarnation? That's such an abrupt chaos ending there. That reminds me of like a scene out of a disaster movie. Like a Roland Emmerich film in like 2012 when an entire city blows up and everyone's screaming all at once before they all die. That is just like almost haunting. But anyway, yeah. The crowd's apparently going fucking nuts for Claude here. And I love that they even have like the stock baby giggle sound effect, like they pulled out all of the stops. This couldn't have taken more than 15 seconds to make, and it actually might have just been made by one of the higher-ups' child during like study hall at middle school. They're actually using it. They're legitimately trying to pass this off as a real thing and marketing for the film. I fucking love the caption, "The theater when Claude finally shows up in Elemental." Nobody knows who Claude is. Why would they be sitting there waiting on bated breath, counting down the seconds for the moment that Claude finally graces them with his presence? This is a complete new property, a new character they've never seen before. Why would they blow a gasket in excitement for it? This isn't like a moment in a beloved franchise or like a cameo fan service moment, you know, like Across the Spider-Verse, where people will point at the screen and be like, oh, holy shit, that's Spider-Man Turbo X5 from that 2008 obscure fanfic Tumblr moment. They listen to us! Ah! Like, no one's doing that for Claude. It's not happening. I also can't help but just love that they even go a step further. Instead of just like pretending that people gave a fuck about Claude, they then go even further where they start making like sound effects as like the spectators during the film. The most annoying audience reactions ever, such as like, ooh, when he's like flirting with the main character here, I guess. Like, nobody does that. Like, that's so rare. What the fuck? Just a complete brazen disregard for the audience intelligence to try and convince people that this is real it's admirable. I can't help but be impressed that they're actually trying this on TikTok, but I can't even blame them for trying. I don't even hold them at fault for this, because a lot of users on TikTok suffer from legitimate brain rot. That's going to be a studied phenomenon in 10 years. Mark my words. Put it on your calendar. 10 years, we're going to be studying the effect that TikTok has had on the brain and the development of children and people across the world. One of the biggest goddamn trends on TikTok for a while, a couple years ago, was this, where it was like pretending that your hand just went through your other hand, and it blew so many people's minds. That one thing I just did right there has like 10 billion views across all the people that did it on there. So I do believe that this probably wasn't the worst idea for Disney Pixar, to try and convince them that, like, oh man, people must really love Claude. I kind of want to get in on that hype. I don't want to feel left out. And look at how the audience responded to him. Claude must be fucking amazing. This is the second coming of Christ. I might need to get to a theater now to see this. Mom, Dad, let's go. We gotta go to the theater right now. Claude needs us. We gotta see Elemental, quick. What's the next showing? Like, I gotta get in on the hype. It might work, and maybe it has, because yesterday there was an article that came out saying that Elemental is actually making a bit of a resurgence in the box office. So it's still a massive net loss right now. It's got about 166 million total box office off of a $200 million production budget, which you usually double for marketing, but in this case, probably not. They didn't really market it much. So even still, it is in the red, but it's starting to bounce back a little bit. Thanks largely to Claude, I imagine. Claude's doing a lot of heavy lifting for this film, I guess. That just goes to show you the power of Claude. When you bet on Claude, you're guaranteed a win, it seems. Now, I know Mickey Mouse is going to public domain pretty soon. They're going to have to retire Mickey Mouse pretty soon for Disney. Maybe they'll just pick Claude as the next, like, actual Disney mascot. Like, the face of Disney might be Claude within the next couple of years. So I'm seeing a lot of potential with the character. We can clearly see how much people love Claude. Like, goddamn. You know, maybe I'm wrong. I fully admit there's a chance that I'm very wrong, and this is all a very real audience reaction to seeing Claude. Maybe that's just how we as human beings are programmed to respond to something as perfect as Claude, right? I haven't seen the film yet, but I gotta be honest, that marketing tactic's almost working on me. I kind of want to get over there real quick to see, you know, how great Claude is. He's not even the main character of the film, and I guess he really steals the show. But yeah, anyway, I just had to talk about this a little bit. I'm curious to see if they're going to do any other Hail Mary marketing plays for this film if it continues to not do well in the box office. So yeah, excited for that if it happens. That's about it. So yeah. I remember when I was a kid in middle school, there was a guy that tried to sell me cigarettes once. It wasn't like an adult or anything. It wasn't a creepy uncle situation. It was just a fellow classmate. And he like pulled me aside. He's like, Charlie, you want to see something fucking epic? You ever heard of cigarettes? And I was like, yeah, I've heard of those goofy little things before. Why? So he like opened up his backpack and showed me. He made it seem like he was showing me like a real life fucking Pokemon or something, like a dinosaur egg. And I just never really forgot that. That story doesn't really have anything in common with what we're talking about today, other than I now feel like that kid's selling cigarettes, but instead of selling cigarettes, now I'm just showing you something fucking epic with a grown-ass man melting down and throwing a temper tantrum after being told he has to move one seat to his left in a movie theater.
Seats in this theater.
So that's
Why
not
do you
yours.
have to have mine?
It's not your seat.
Go away.
That's not
I
gonna
pay my money. I have a right to it.
sit in your seat. Correct?
Yes,
that's
my
not,
seat.
That's not your seat.
How can you tell it's not my seat?
Because your ticket has your seat number on it.
Absolutely bent him over and blasted his ass with facts and logic. Put his ass into a checkmate, the scholar's mate, by dropping the mic after revealing that his ticket has his assigned seat on it, as pretty much every movie theater does these days. And so, to bring you up to speed, this gentleman was asked to just move to his seat that is on his ticket, and that's when all hell broke loose. That's when the demon came out.
Whatever.
Let's find it.
Whatever.
This can easily
Do
be
your
resolved.
own policy.
and
No,
you're
no, I'm going to be
arguing.
an asshole because you're being an asshole.
I am not.
I'm a patron here.
Okay, and I'm trying to
And
find
this
your
will be
seat.
the last time that I come to this imagined theater.
My man just dropped a theater on him. That's some straight out of SpongeBob fire. Again, this could all be solved super easily if he just moved to the seat right next to him. But he just will not budge. This is what happens when an unstoppable object meets an immovable sack of rejection and failure.
All right,
great.
I paid
That
my
sounds
money.
great.
Does
Please-
anybody
please
here
don't come
think
back.
that
Please
this
don't
is
come back.
actually a thing where it's like it doesn't matter where you sit? It's not assigned seating.
It is. Go sit in your own seat. Thank you.
So now we get a look at our protagonist here. It's Hulk Hogan. Hulkmania is running wild here, brother. I'll tell you what. And the camera angle is very cinematic here. I feel like a child hiding inside of my parents' closet. Now they've just busted in and started making out with each other, and I'm really uncomfortable. You also gotta love that the crowd work didn't exactly pan out. Wait, guys, what's the deal with assigned seating? Does anyone else believe in this shit? This shit's more made up than round earth theory, am I right? Like, come on, what's going on with that shit? And some guy's like, bro, just go to your seat. He's like, oh, bah humbug, whatever. It's just this phenomenon that I always find amazing when someone is so confidently wrong and lost in their own delusion, just huffing too many of their own farts that they just really think that they're right and put themselves out there to get validation and never find it. It's like those people that are melting down in a public store or at a retail worker and they film themselves melting down and insulting the retail worker thinking that they're in the right and it looks good on them. But every single time it just gets them attacked by everyone, or they get like fired from their job for it because they themselves posted their worst moment thinking that they were in the right.
Oh, thank you.
Please, sir, let's find your seat and we can start the
No,
meeting.
I'm not going to.
Then I'm going to ask you to leave.
You did, like 4 or 5 times. And that's why now we have a disturbance. Because some other people can't just be like, you know what? I could sit right here,
Sir, we're not doing this
one
anymore.
seat off.
We're not doing
One
this
seat
anymore.
off.
I gotta say, man, the employee here has the patience of an actual Zen master. I don't know how someone can be dealing with fucking drunk Yosemite Sam over here like this with such a level head. He's just sitting there being as respectful as possible given the circumstance. So that guy needs a raise. ASAP.
So if I were to move over one seat, everything would be okay.
Sir,
Is that what you're saying?
you're disrupting.
Is that what you're saying?
Listen.
Does that mean?
Are you gonna listen?
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Be my pest.
Okay. At this point, you are disrupting the show for these fine folks. We're gonna ask you to leave. We'll get you a refund, though. I'll be nice and get you a refund.
I don't know. I might want to be taken out in handcuffs now.
Sir, let's. Come on.
I say call his bluff. This is not a guy who's accustomed to confrontation or fighting. When you see him stand up, you'll know what I'm talking about. This is a guy whose only argument has probably ever come from playing Dungeons and Dragons online, or maybe like a rule dispute in Magic the Gathering. There is no chance that this guy would be okay in the face of like actual confrontation. He's just taking advantage of some very respectful and nice workers and being an insufferable asshole. Now, it does sound like he's been drinking, but that's no excuse for this behavior whatsoever. It's such a small, trivial thing to just move one seat over. I imagine the reason they even checked his ticket and then found out he was in the wrong seat is because someone was trying to sit in their assigned seat, but this fucking vigilante swamp-ass monster couldn't help but try and like fight for his right to be a nuisance. It's so frustrating that people will cause such a massive scene over something so small. Just move one seat over. It's just not that hard.
I paid my money. I don't understand
we'll
why
get
it
you your-
is. If I sit over here, one
At-
seat, it's
at this
okay, and everything is right with the world. But if not, the world stops and everybody gets upset.
Sir, let's go. I'll be nice and I'll get you a refund.
I want more than just a refund.
Okay.
Can I get a drink?
We'll take care of you in the lobby.
One more drink's gonna have this man in the fetal position crying and asking for his mom to pop a tit for him to suckle. It's not a good idea. He's definitely hit the sauce a little too hard today. though he does strike me as just an already angry person to begin with if he's willing to go this hard on something this insignificant. So hopefully he didn't get a drink, and hopefully he didn't get a refund. He was not entitled to a refund. He literally just donated to this theater to not even see a movie. He went in here confrontational and basically kicked himself out. He does not need a refund. That is being way too nice to this guy. These two workers deserve a raise for having to deal with someone like this. Just an actual public nuisance.
Fine. And then I won't come back.
Okay.
Ever.
Okay.
And I'm gonna make sure everybody knows about this shit.
Okay. I appreciate that.
I'm capitulating because I don't want to watch the movie now. You ruined it for me. Because of your silly ass rules.
Okay. I apologize about that.
Take a look at that drip, god damn! Looking suave. Man out here with the red on red, dressed like an actual zit. Or maybe the saturation's a little up and maybe it's orange on orange and he's cosplaying as a traffic cone with a wig. I'm really not sure, but he's looking real good here. Man's looking like Doc Brown going through a phase after Back to the Future 3.
I still think I'm being the bigger person here.
I think you dropped your phone.
Yeah. At least I didn't pay $900 for it. Goodbye, everyone. Enjoy your movie.
The most predictable twist in cinema history. This guy owns a trench coat and unironically wears it in public. I actually thought when he first picked it up it was a trash bag or like a tarp or something, and then it turned out to be a trench coat and I just thought, yep, that makes sense. That tracks. That sounds about par for the course. He probably also had like a katana stored in the trunk of his car just in case he happened to get jumped by 6 samurais on the way out of the parking lot or something. Just really sad shit. Just a public nuisance for no fucking reason. Could have just moved one seat over and saved everyone the trouble and himself the embarrassment. I think this is just a lesson to everyone to not make a big deal out of such simple and small things. Even like, let's say in some fantasy world he was right. You know, he was actually in the right seat and the movie theater was wrong. None of them couldn't read. They were all illiterate. Even still, it was such a simple ask. They're asking me to move one seat over. I might be right, but why am I going to fight them? It's their facility. I'll just move over so that way I'm not intruding on everyone else's time. It's just not hard to just do something simple for the sake of everyone else's enjoyment and ease of existence. Like, it's just, I don't know, that shit just drives me up a fucking wall. Anyway, I just saw this today and wanted to talk about it. That's about it. See ya. They say that God works in mysterious ways, and there's never been stronger evidence of that than what happened today. A movie theater ceiling collapsed during a showing of Captain America: Brave New World. This could have been a tragic event with deaths, injuries, and boo-boos, but because showings for Captain America: Brave New World are emptier than my ass after I go take a shit during this next cut, there was no one in the theater at the time of this happening. Well, at least no one in the danger zone, in the splash zone. There were actually 2 people in the theater when it occurred, but both were far enough away from the event to have been at risk. They were completely unharmed, luckily. Now, if this had happened at a more popular film, like Sonic the Hedgehog 3, there'd be tons of corpses.
You want to destroy the letter? Yeah. We haven't figured out how.
Just look at that debris there. It looks like an anvil came in there, Looney Tunes style. It is a complete ceiling collapse. When I read the headline initially, I thought it was like a roof tile fell down, and that'd be like big time ouchies if that hit you, but probably wouldn't kill you. If you were in the first 3 rows here, like if this was like a full auditorium, I have no doubt people actually would have died there. It's like I said at the beginning, the Lord works in mysterious ways. He ensured the new Captain America movie was mediocre enough so that when something like this happened, there wasn't a soul in the vicinity at risk. Save for the 2 spectators who probably got a huge jump scare from that. There's an investigation going on to try and find out what caused this. Because, again, it wasn't like, one little piece of the ceiling fell. That whole motherfucker caved in and came in like an asteroid. Like, that looks like a building imploded and then fell through. So I don't know what could have caused that. Maybe it was put up with toothpicks and bubblegum. Couldn't tell you, but It is very lucky no one was there. If this had happened at a Joker 2 showing, we wouldn't have even known the ceiling collapsed until Joker 2 was out of theaters and they replaced it with something better, because nobody was showing up to that shit, so no one would have ever even seen that a ceiling caved in. Apparently the theater was made in 1919, so it's over 100 years old. I think those bones are starting to wear out. So I may not be part of the official investigation squad, but if I had to give it the old sniff test, the old smell test, I'd say probably has to do with maybe not being kept up to code for a little while, and maybe there was just some shit rotten in there and finally just gave way. It said Geronimo, and it just went down. That's my guess. Again, I'm no architect. I don't build theaters. It's just, I know 100 years old, like that's, I mean, it's only like a blink in the lifespan of an elf, but in human years, that's a long fucking time, and buildings wear out, you know, pretty substantially over that period of time. But it was remodeled in the 1970s, so it's still an old building, but it was remodeled within the last century, which is good. Now, according to one of the spectators, they heard pops and cracking, so then he stood up to take a peek, and that's when he walked towards the screen, looked up, and then told the other patron, run. So then he jogged away and instructed the other patron that they need to, you know, get the fuck out of there. But, unfortunately, the other patron did not get out in time, but they were far enough back that instead of just getting clobbered by the ceiling, they instead just got like some debris pushed onto them. Apparently she was actually one row behind where the ceiling came down, so she was danger close. That was a very close shave, but again, she was uninjured. I can only imagine the confusion of all of the other theater goers and the staff when these two left that auditorium looking like they just came out of an active war zone covered in dust and debris. Like, they probably thought they must have just jumped out of the Jumanji board game or some shit. That must have been so jarring. Like, if I had walked by and saw that, I don't know if I would have been able to connect the dots. I would have thought a fucking bomb went off there and I probably would have just left. And in fact, even if I did connect the dots, if my neurons were firing and I pieced the puzzle together that the ceiling collapsed, probably still would have left because now I wouldn't trust the ceiling anymore. I do want to just briefly add how comical it is reading that this blockbuster had 2 people in attendance when something fucking crazy happened. Like, I know it's not exclusive to just Captain America not doing super well. Like, this has been happening a lot with films that are just kind of flopping and petering out really quickly. But just seeing, like, 2 people were there at the time, like, it's kind of laughable. It'd be like, you know, at Charles' Sweet 16 birthday party, all 3 attendees were subjected to undercooked chicken and had brief bouts of salmonella. And it's like, 3 people at the Sweet 16, well, that's kind of sad. Like, it's kind of the same way here. Like, oh, 2 people at the showing? Yikes. Whoa. But anyway, it is good news that no one was hurt here. Hopefully they can fix the ceiling and make sure every other ceiling in that building is up to snuff and won't just fucking blow up. That's really about it. See ya. We're in the middle of Minecraft movie madness. It's sweeping like the bubonic plague. Theaters are erupting into chaos every time the word chicken jockey gets said. And I'm constantly being sent things and asked about it, like, what do I think? Because somehow I'm the only person on the planet that got to see this movie in pure silence. When I saw the Minecraft movie on opening day, I was the only one in the theater. I even made like a whole sailor's log. I only ever posted one little clip of it on my Instagram, but I filmed like 6 of them throughout my lonely ass experience in there.
No one's even accidentally wandered in. Still just me in here, on the front lines of the Minecraft movie.
So like I had this whole diary of my experience with the Minecraft movie, which is unbelievably different from everyone else's right now. The phenomenon I documented is nothing compared to what everyone else has. It seems like this movie has reached a point where people go to it just to cause a ruckus because it's part of the meme and everyone wants to feel like, you know, part of the crew, part of the ship. Now, ordinarily, I'm not humbugging people that get excited during a movie and scream like a big line, or, God forbid, someone starts like clapping at the screen during a moment. Like, it's a little cringe, but it doesn't really bother me. It doesn't annoy me, and I don't get like mad about it or anything. I do very much dislike it when people break out into a song during a movie. Heavens to Betsy, Lord, have fucking mercy. That is miserable when someone just starts singing the song during a film, but luckily that's only happened like once I can recall. But this is just not that. It's not people just like getting excited and like saying chicken jockey. I'm sure you've all been seeing the clips, and I'm tardy to the party here because I was just gonna not bother talking about it because I sound like such a Scrooge here because I fucking hate it. Like, bringing the live chicken in, going ballistic, throwing popcorn, confetti. There was one where people were puking on the floor, throwing soda. Another one where they body slammed one of the employees. Cops getting called because of this kind of shit from just, like, fighting in the theater because of chicken jockey. I hate all of it. It's the perfect storm of things I can't stand all coming together and bubbling over in this foul fucking cauldron at Minecraft movie showings multiple times per week. It's like if James Corden announced he was doing a comedy tour across Tampa. Like, I hate it. It'd make me mad every time I heard about him doing a show. I've insulted countless pranksters whose prank involves just causing a mess for employees to clean up and just treating everyone around them like NPCs for their content. This is that phenomenon, but amplified with everyone being the prankster. Everyone going to the theater to ironically scream and shout at every flint and steel and chicken jockey moment, and then throwing popcorn in this huge crescendo of pandemonium and making just this ridiculous headache for all of the employees at the theater to have to clean up their fucking mess so that way they could get a couple updoots on TikTok. It'd be a totally different story if this was just genuine or organic, where people were just so blown away by this masterpiece of a movie they couldn't help themselves and they erupt into cheers and applause, and maybe it gets a little messy as it continues to escalate. But this is just all performative for internet clout. Who can make the loudest, biggest mess and get as crazy as like possible? Who can one-up the person carrying the chicken and riding on someone's shoulders and, you know, blowing up the whole fucking theater into debris and puke for all the employees to come clean up after? And I've seen the Minecraft director come out and defend it, which I understand why he would defend it. This is huge ticket sales for his movie. I also couldn't help but giggle at his response where he says that it's just for throwing popcorn. You were just having too much fun and apparently that's illegal? Get back out there and throw some more fucking popcorn, buy some more tickets. I totally understand why he'd want to lean into this trend, because it is putting more and more money in his pocket. So obviously he wants to come out and encourage it because it is so good for him that people are doing this and buying tickets to his movie. I'd be doing the same shit if I was in his position. I'd go even harder. I'd be like, one chicken? That's all? That's the best you bastards can do? Come on! There's so much more potential here. Get your friends, your family, your Fint plug together. Bring them all to the Minecraft movie this weekend, and let's make unforgettable memories. A block-bustin', nut-bustin' extravaganza. Bring in more chickens. Bring in the fucking cold corpse of Jimmy Hoffa. We are going to make this even bigger with Chicken Jockey. We have to show up for Chicken Jockey. I'd be trying to snowball it even harder. I'd turn it into a hashtag, you know, like hashtag Minecraft Movie Challenge or something, because he's making millions of dollars from this, no doubt. So he's clearly not going to come out and just shake his finger at it like, no, this is naughty. You guys shouldn't do this in my movie. Because why would he? He's able to just sit back, have people just ironically buy tons and tons of tickets for it, and it's great for him. But as someone who has no financial gain from the Minecraft movie, and someone who just watched it, I would hate to have been someone in one of these auditoriums where people were just constantly shouting throughout the whole film, every fucking line, which apparently has happened a lot, and then going ballistic for Chicken Jockey, where it becomes destructive, throwing popcorn and soda all over the place. That sucks. That is horrible. And I really do feel terrible for all of the employees at these theaters that have to clean up after this shit. And again, none of this is even genuine in the first place. It's all ironic. And all for the sake of those sweet, sweet TikTok videos hoping to pop off and go viral from. Now, to bring up what I mentioned at the beginning with my experience with the Minecraft movie, I got to watch that in basically a fucking sensory deprivation chamber. It was just me, nobody else. And I didn't realize at the time how lucky I was for that, because if I had to be in one of those theaters when someone was popping off with the chicken jockey scene and throwing soda all over the place and spitting and shitting and farting and fucking and whatever, I would have been so mad. Like, that would have been a complete nightmare. So I am very thankful that for some reason nobody went to Minecraft movie opening day and I got to see it in peace. and that movie is ass. It is not a good movie. The reason this is popping off so much is because it's not a good movie and it's all ironic. Which brings me to something I've mentioned before. I wonder, and I of course don't have the answer, there's no way of knowing, I wonder if this will be a more common behavioral trend, where when a movie is obviously bad, like we saw with Morbius. Morbius was bad and became a big meme, everyone shit on it, made a more $1 billion. They even had that like meme scene where he says it's Morbin time and everyone like screams and shouts. That wasn't a real video, but now that this has been established with Minecraft movie, I wonder if we saw like another like Morbius stinker, like another piece of shit like that, if people will now start seeing it ironically for the sake of trying these like ironic pop-offs for these moments for the sake of internet clout. I don't know if it's isolated to just the Minecraft movie, if it's special in that regard, or if we're going to see this for other bad movies going forward. So I'm just pretty curious to see if this is just a one-time deal with this movie, or if this now becomes some kind of common occurrence, which would really fucking suck. Anyway, that's about it. So yeah, I threw the spectacles on for this one, so you know it's serious business. When I started stream tonight, chat told me something I could have never expected to read. News that you never want to hear.
Chaos at the movies in Surprise this weekend after police say a man exposed himself and urinated inside the theater.
During a screening for the new Demon Slayer film, one fan excitedly stood up and apparently unzipped his trousers and began peeing. Now, I've seen conflicting reports on if they were peeing on somebody or just peeing in general on something. Based on the charges, I'm going to guess it was the latter. It doesn't sound like they pissed on anyone R. Kelly style. It seems like he just started peeing on the seats below him, and then he just sat down as if nothing abnormal just happened. And as you can see here, patrons of the cinema were not too pleased with this display, so they got up and clobbered him. They fucking beat the piss out of him. It was a smackdown. This isn't, they only show you a snippet of it. They are walloping this man, and then when they're done, you can see him in like a Peter Griffin death pose, pretty much. I've seen people calling him the Piss Hashira, and that's given me a hearty giggle. Now, I recently mentioned that I just got a copyright strike for showing news footage, but I truly cannot do this topic justice without showing you some of this footage. So I guess I'm just going to roll the dice here and hope that the news agency won't be upset at showing you some of these clips here about what unfolded. It is so fucking unhinged. The chutzpah to stand up proudly and piss in a crowded movie theater, just fucking tinkling, golden showering the seats beneath you is unfathomable. Like, this isn't even, he didn't even try and be discreet about it. He stood up and he is in the middle of this row of seats. He is in the middle of the section. Everyone was going to see him stand up, and I imagine instantly people were like, "Sit down, goober, what are you doing, douchebag? Take a seat." And then, like, taking a closer look, like, upon further inspection, they're like, "Oh my god, he's urinating. Oh my god, he's fucking peeing over there."
Yeah, it happened Friday night at the AMC Surprise Point. That's where officers responded to the disturbance. Witnesses told police that the man was confronted after he got up, unzipped his pants, and started peeing during a screening of Demon Slayer. Moviegoers confronted the man and started hitting him. The suspect, Limmel Hull, was later arrested and booked on charges of indecent exposure, disorderly conduct, and criminal damage.
I may not be familiar with the Surprise Point AMC location, but I can tell you about surprises, and boy howdy was this probably a big one for everyone that attended this screening. Goodness gracious. When I saw this movie yesterday, my theater was filled to the brim. There wasn't a single open seat left. So if I was a betting man, I would put money that there were people in the seats next to him and people around the splash zone beneath him. Probably horrified that this guy just stood up, pulled his cock out, and then started peeing. Now, like I mentioned, I believe no one was hit with the biological warfare here. I think most people walked away dry, considering his charges didn't include, like, assault or something, which maybe would have been the charge that would arise from getting pissed on. I don't exactly know what it is, but since his charges were criminal damages, indecent exposure, stuff like that, it doesn't sound like anyone got like piss waterboarded. No one was like drenched and super soaked by him or anything. But I do think there's a possibility that maybe it just wasn't reported because maybe they didn't even know that they got hit. Like, I feel like standing up and pissing like this, probably like there's going to be droplets bouncing and splashing in places they don't expect, so maybe some people got it on like their shoes or something and just didn't notice, because from the sound of things, he did a full-blown tinkle carpet bomb. I would wager a guess that the guys who went up and gave him the knuckle sandwiches were probably the ones closest to him when he did this. And I would also say that I'm surprised that he didn't get more charges added, considering that in this movie theater auditorium, there were probably kids around when he got up and just started pissing with like his whole meat out and everything. I'm actually kind of surprised there weren't more charges on it.
Hull appeared in court Saturday afternoon. He was later released. A witness tells us AMC gave everyone in the theater a refund.
That's actually a pretty nice gesture from AMC with the refunds, but you can't put the piss back in the balls. What a crazy situation here. I actually cannot even imagine the state of mind someone would have to be in to do some shit like that. It seems he desperately needed to go to the potty, but I guess he just didn't want to excuse himself to the restroom. Maybe he was afraid that he'd miss something important in the movie. He didn't want to miss a second of the action. And even still, the decision to stand up and piss is fucking shockingly baffling. Like, there's no good way of doing this besides just going to the bathroom. You're going to miss a little bit of the movie. But, like, why wouldn't you just pee your pants? like, you could piss your pants and nobody would know you did that in a dark auditorium. Like, maybe they'd smell it, eventually as the odor emanates. But it'll also be kind of hard to pin that on who exactly was the pants pisser. Like, why wouldn't he just pee his pants? That would also come with a myriad of excuses too, by the way, like, oh man, I had an accident, I didn't know I had to pee like that, or you could like blame it on a condition or something. But instead, he made like an entire song and dance out of him pissing. Like, he actually interrupted the film so that way people would watch him pee. He called all the attention to his degenerate act. What a fucking sick freak. Anyway, though, I had to yap about this a bit. This one was shockingly wild. That's about it. See ya. Yeah, I know I look a little disheveled. So what? Big whoop. You want to fight about it, huh, tough guy? Is that what you want? You want to tussle with the muscle? Get down and dirty in the pig pen? Well, that's too damn bad. I'm way too tired for that. I just, legitimately can't sleep anymore. For, the last 2 weeks, I've been going through this cycle where I'll have 2 days, a full 48-hour period, where I get maybe 2 to 3 hours total of sleep. And then the third day I'll hibernate for 10 or so hours. And then that cycle just keeps repeating itself like I'm a goddamn meth addict. It's like a powerlifter's workout split, but instead of growing my muscles, it's growing my frustration. Because it is so upsetting that I just can't sleep despite wanting to. I've tried every trick in the book, but we're not here to just focus on my sleep tactics. One thing I've been doing while I've been engaged in this battle against insomnia, this raid boss that I've encountered, I've just been perusing the deep underbelly of the internet, just scouring around looking for wacky shit. And I found something really interesting last night, and then decided I was going to try and sleep, and I actually did manage to get a little shut-eye, and I woke up this morning and I found out that it blew up in popularity on Twitter. So just like a hipster, I was here before it was cool. What you just witnessed was a celebration for a character appearing on screen in a movie. This is how I imagine Pixar envisioned Claude's appearance in Elementals would go over when they tried that viral marketing campaign for Claude. This is what I imagine they pictured in their head. People fucking firing off fireworks, going ballistic. Wow! That kind of thing. And it actually happened here. So this was for the screening of a movie called Tiger 3, which has a very famous actor in it named Salman Khan. And when he made his grand appearance on screen, a few audience members set up a pyrotechnics display, like a fucking WWE entrance, and just blasted the roof off of this bitch here. Just shit going crazy. I understand being excited to see like a beloved character return. Like, I imagine if I did actually reprise my role as the District 8 hospital helper in the new Hunger Games movie, we might have seen a couple sparklers be lit up in the auditorium for people celebrating my appearance on screen, but never like this. I don't think I have ever been this excited about anything in my life, and I'm jealous. Without exaggeration, this might be one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in my life. This is, no joke, extraordinarily dangerous. I could list you tons and tons of examples of fireworks being done inside causing a fire that kills people. I'll give you two of the biggest ones off the top of my head. One of them was a month ago at a wedding in Iraq where a pyrotechnics display ended up setting the entire venue on fire and killing over 100 people. And then of course there is one of the most famous examples, the Station nightclub fire disaster of 2003, where once again a pyrotechnics display caught the venue on fire. It was done inside. It lit some of the acoustic paneling on fire, again, killing over 100 people. That could have easily happened here. And even if they didn't burn this entire motherfucker down with the fireworks, the trampling and the stampede-like catastrophe that unfolded could have easily killed people too, with people just getting trampled to death. It is a miracle nobody died. Another wild component of this story is it's not the first time this has happened, and also not the first time the actor has had to address this. In 2021, Khan was similarly compelled to put out a statement on Instagram following several viral videos of fans igniting firecrackers in cinema screenings of his film, Antim: The Final Truth. Enjoy the film by all means, but please avoid taking firecrackers inside the auditorium, he wrote in the post. This is my request to all my fans. Thank you. Unfortunately, they did not listen to that. They came back and set off even more fireworks this time around. I can't believe it's a common occurrence. It blows my mind that this hasn't led to deaths. Maybe they're just on a real lucky streak, or maybe these movie theaters are just like super, super well built to handle any and all kinds of curveballs you might throw at them, including fireworks being set off inside, which I don't think many buildings consider. This is like a mortar attack raining down on the theater here. It's like the artillery squad just started fucking blasting them. It is falling on top of people and exploding in their face, so everyone's scrambling to get out. It is baffling. And it's also like the dumbest idea ever, even just conceptually. Let's just say you're stupid enough to not recognize the danger of setting off fireworks inside and how it could easily kill people. What the fuck do you expect to happen? You can't hear the movie anymore, you can't see the movie anymore because of all the smoke, so this character you're really excited for in the film, you won't even get to see or hear from for the rest of the production because the entire fucking auditorium's been covered in smoke and you're not gonna be able to hear shit. Like, I don't understand, like, it doesn't make any level of sense at all. This is like being so excited that your favorite character's back in the movie that you decide to break the projector. It just never ends, by the way. This is longer than, like, the Disney World fireworks show they do every night. They went wacky with this. They didn't just get one or two fireworks. No, they got the whole kit and caboodle. I don't know how much money they spent on it, but they went fucking hog wild here. It just keeps going. I saw quite a few articles reference them as firecrackers, and that is such an understatement. That is not accurate at all. Granted, I'm not a fireworks connoisseur, but I know firecrackers from when I was a kid, and this is like at least 5 or 6 levels above that. This shit is firing into the air and exploding in everyone's faces in a big way. It's spreading sparks all over the place. This is a little more than firecrackers here. When you read a headline that says, some theater goers set off firecrackers inside, this is not what you picture. This looks like something you'd find out of like you know, Saving Private Ryan or something during like a big war scene. This is not just like a couple of firecrackers that got set off. It goes on for another like 30 or 45 seconds or so, but you get the point. A lot of fireworks were set off inside a movie theater. Now, they're reporting that no damage was done. I find that claim very hard to believe, but I'll take them at their word. Somehow, maybe this auditorium's made out of fucking adamantium. I have no idea. But somehow, you know, no one dies. I don't think there's any reported injuries either, so I guess that's the best possible outcome, but the movie was absolutely ruined for the audience. I don't see where you go from here, because again, the auditorium's just going to smell like, you know, gunpowder, going to be covered in smoke so you can't really see the screen, and your ears are probably going to be ringing. Fucking tinnitus has just been given to the entire, you know, auditorium, so I don't think the movie got to be enjoyed past this point. But yeah, I just had to talk about this because, man, the enthusiasm and the passion for this character is almost inspiring. Like, again, I wish there was something I was this excited for. But yeah, I just had to talk about it a little bit. That's it. So yeah. This is a video I've debated making for years now, but I always just assumed that it was too personal and serious to be worthwhile. Like, you're not my therapist, so why should you care? This is quite honestly a didn't ask plus ratio moment. But I figured since I already kind of popped the seal off of this kind of content 5 years ago when I opened up about my OCD, I figured why not let this genie fully out of the lamp and talk about a mental problem I've struggled with since I was a kid. It's called hypochondria, and it's basically health anxiety but to an extreme level. It's health anxiety going insano style, fucking turbo mode, and for me personally it's had a massive impact on my life. It started when I was around 13 or so, roughly the same time period when my OCD tendencies really started to manifest. And as you can probably imagine, puberty was pretty miserable for me. While you were jerking your meat, I was studying WebMD. I knew about prion diseases before I knew about algebra. I would just stay up all night scaring myself with medical information and shit. Instead of like ghost stories and campfire spooky tales, I just read like PubMed articles on really rare diseases and death. And of course, this led me to believe that every little ache and pain and upset tummy was related to some life-threatening illness. And I'd force my parents to send me to doctors and get all kinds of tests, x-rays and CT scans and shit done that were obviously unnecessary, highly unnecessary, but they indulged me. I got so many CT scans done when I was a kid, I'm surprised I didn't turn into the fucking Hulk with all the gamma radiation or something. And of course, not only were they unnecessary, but it was highly dangerous getting that many tests and shit done. So it was counterproductive to my overall health as well. But I just couldn't help it. I had convinced myself that because I ate 2-day expired peanut butter, I'd contracted toxoplasmosis and I was panicking. I couldn't sleep. I'd just be in a constant state of anxiety, and it's all I would think about. And it's still like that to this day. Granted, it's a lot better now than when I was a kid. I no longer go to doctors for every single small ailment, because obviously I can rationalize it to myself now, but it's still something I battle today. In fact, the reason why I decided now is the right time to bring this up is because it's been getting fucking bad. I've been getting dump trucked by my hypochondria over the last week. I talked about it on stream last night, but I saw Jurassic World in theaters on Thursday. The movie's stinky, it blows ass, it's not great, but what was really awful was going to the theater for me. You see, what happened is, the movie was so boring in between the parts where the dinosaurs were doing things that I dozed off twice. Which is really rare for me, by the way. I usually never fall asleep during movies because even when they're super bad, I still find them enjoyably entertaining to make fun of. But this one was just excruciatingly uninteresting. It was like ASMR, but also with the Sandman throwing sand in my face and putting me to sleep instantly. This shit was just unbearable, so I dozed off twice. Not for long, obviously. I didn't get the blanket and pillows out and just call it a night. I had only like dozed off for like maybe 2 or 3 minutes total. But when I had woken up, it was during a scene in the snow. A plane had crashed, and I was pretty sure I saw a bat fly across the theater and go into the curtain next to the screen. And this sent me into an absolute fucking panic because I'm terrified of bats. And this isn't some like Bruce Wayne origin story, Batman shit. I'm afraid of bats because of rabies. I don't actually have like a bat phobia. In fact, the videos I see of baby bats and shit are kind of cute, but I'm afraid of bats in the wild because of rabies. I think rabies is one of the scariest diseases on the planet. Once the symptoms start, you're already dead. And there's nothing they can do about it. They have a vaccine that's a series of shots over the course of however long in order to like prevent the rabies onset, and it's 100% effective as far as I know, but they can't test if you actually contracted rabies. So they only do that if there's like a good reason for an exposure, like if you got scratched by a potentially rabid animal, bitten, whatever. But since I'm a goofy goober suffering from hypochondria, I have been constantly replaying the scene in my head for the last 48 hours and am convinced that while I dozed off, the bat may have bitten me, and I just didn't wake up from the bite. Because bat bites are invisible. When you get bitten by a bat, most people don't feel it because their teeth are so tiny and they don't leave any noticeable marks to the naked eye. So there's a chance that, and I've read stories of people who have been bitten by bats without waking up, and bats are the #1 transmitter of rabies. Most people who die from rabies are from bat bites that they didn't even know that they had. It's super fucking horrifying. So since Jurassic World Dominion was so boring it lullabied me to sleep, and I'm pretty sure I saw a bat, I have convinced myself that the bat must have gone full-blown like Agent 47 Hitman and bitten me while I was asleep and has given me rabies, and I've been freaking out ever since, wondering if I should just go get the shots to be safe. But even then, I don't think there's any self-respecting doctor that would hear this story and think, yep, that's rational. I'll set you up right now with the shots. They'd probably just admit me to a psych ward. They'd lock me up in Arkham Asylum if I told them this shit. Like, I know how ridiculous it all sounds. I even had to be talked out of going back to the theater, getting tickets to the theater, and trying to hunt down the bat myself like I'm the goddamn Ghostbusters. Like, I was even thinking like full-blown Looney Tunes where I disguised myself as pest control to try and find it for the theater. I know how outrageous it all sounds. I also tried to alert the theater to the bat by calling them, but their phone, I guess, doesn't work because it never goes through. I understand how unhealthy it all is, but I can't help it. I can't stop myself from it. That's the absolute curse of being a hypochondriac. I can recognize how unlikely this whole situation is, this wild fucking fanfic. Less than 1% of bats even carry rabies in the first place. The bats in Florida are predominantly fruit bats, so they're not even like carnivorous. They're not even going for humans or anything like that. It's mainly insects and shit. I understand that. And it may not have even been a bat in the theater. The scene, I managed to find the scene online. The scene has a bunch of snow fucking rushing across the screen horizontally. And since I was waking up from like fucking 2 little cat naps, there's a chance where I was still a little woozy and not processing things correctly and got confused with a big chunk of snow being a bat that flew into the curtains. Also a possibility. I know all of the stats and how unreasonable all of this sounds, but I can't help but be afraid of it. It is awful being a hypochondriac. It is at times debilitating. I just don't think people realize how awful hypochondria can be, because that's a word that gets tossed around a lot, a label that people use pretty often, super loosely. Kind of like OCD in a certain way, like, oh, I put all of my tax documents a certain way in my drawers here. I guess I'm just OCD like that. Hypochondria kind of has something similar, where it's shit like, yeah, I wash my hands every time I finish going to the bathroom because I'm a hypochondriac. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is like the most basic shit ever. Hypochondria is awful. I cannot stand it, and I've worked on it my whole goddamn life since I really started to develop it. I've been working on like mitigating it and making it not as, awful and controlling. And I really have made a lot of strides over the years because it used to be a lot worse. But it's something that just doesn't fully go away. It's just one of those things that sometimes will just flare up like it has for me this week. Now, I haven't rush to any emergency rooms or anything to tell this tale. I do have people who know how awful my hypochondria is, like, calming me down about it and, like, bringing me back to reality. So I think I'm just gonna muscle through it and really pray that my theoretical series of events that I've concocted is wrong, entirely wrong, and pray that I haven't actually been bitten by a rabid bat. Now, like I mentioned, it used to be a lot worse. I do think I've gotten pretty good at managing my hypochondria tendencies, except for this week. Obviously, I've really fallen off the wagon, but prior to this, I really do think I was doing a great job of it. And the way I accomplished, like, getting over a lot of it, since I've had it for so many years, what I found most effective is distractions. I don't know if it's the healthiest way of doing it, since it doesn't actually tackle the core problem, but distractions have just been invaluable. Whether that's distracting yourself with projects or things that you're interested in, like passion projects, whether it's developing a game, for me it's making shit, streaming, whatever. Being around friends, doing things with friends, being active, working out, playing sports, whatever. Just distractions in general, I've always found to be extremely, extremely helpful with things like hypochondria or OCD for me. Because it pushes them to the side where it's not like the only thing that I'm thinking about, to the point where I almost forget about it or completely forget about it. And I truly believe that with hypochondria, it exacerbates every possible issue, so every little thing that may be out of whack, you immediately think is the worst thing ever. So like a small pain in your foot is the worst pain you've ever felt in your life, and something must be dreadfully wrong with your foot. But then, with distractions, you stop thinking about it as much, and you realize, it feels better now. Maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Maybe it was nothing, because now it's gone. So I just really feel like distractions are invaluable in helping with things like hypochondria and OCD. So yeah, up until this week, that's basically been my main strategy, and it's worked super well. And I'm sure it'll work with this too. It's just I haven't had a whole lot to distract myself with over the last couple days. So I just still thought it'd be worthwhile to make this video, like, in the height of a hypochondriac episode. Just for the sake of, you know, opening up about it a little bit, since it's something I don't think a ton of people talk about, and I've already talked about serious shit before, so why not again? Maybe this will help somebody, I don't really know. Hopefully it does, but anyway, that's really about it. So yeah. There's a problem no one in the world is talking about at the moment. Victims that are being silenced and are too afraid to come forward. I believe by me coming forward and shedding light on this problem, it'll be the first domino to fall, causing the domino effect of dominoes falling because the first domino fell. Similar to how the sexual assault victims are coming forward in Hollywood to reveal what's going on over there, which is absolutely great, and I feel like this is on that same level of importance. And yes, I am comparing the inconvenience of the front row movie theater seats to being sexually assaulted. Those fucking front row seats sexually assault my fucking neck. My entire being gets raped every time I sit in the fucking front row of a movie theater because I arrived late and that's the only thing fucking left. The front row of a movie theater is the most poorly designed part of any building that has ever existed throughout all of history of time. I don't understand what the thought process was when putting that fucking front row in the movie theaters. It must have just been a joke that caught on because it's been standardized. Every single movie theater has its front row about one butterfly penis away from the screen, so you're looking up at it at a 90-degree angle. It's like simulating what a floor mat sees every fucking day. And you pay the same price for those seats as every other seat in the theater, which is significantly better. Every seat that's not in the front row is a much better seat. What they should do is make the front row cheaper or move it back. Either one makes sense. Either one makes a load of sense. Because the front row, as it is in these days, is genuinely awful and ruins the movie-going experience. I saw 2 movies in the front row in the last month because I arrived late, unfortunately. One of them had a reclining seat, the other did not. The one that did not was an absolute fucking torture device. That was a chore to get through. It was like being waterboarded by a mediocre movie on the screen. It was just so bad. It was such an unpleasant experience. The one I saw last night, which was Jumanji, and it had a reclining seat in the front row, was a little bit better because I was at least pretty much laying down looking up at it, but that distorted the entire fucking movie for me. Every person's face looked like they were melting. And every time there was a nighttime scene, I couldn't see what was going on. It was like closing my eyes. It was like a sensory deprivation tank at that point, except there was a lot of fucking sound, but I couldn't see at all what was going on at the screen at that angle. Go ahead and do this little experiment right now. Get on the floor, tilt your computer screen, your computer monitor up, and then see if you can make out what's going on the screen. You fucking can't. It's impossible. I don't understand why the front row is as it is these days. I don't know who did it, and I don't like them for it. I'm a firm believer in not judging a book by its cover, but if the book cover says I designed the front row movie theater seats, I'm gonna think that guy's a fucking asshole and I'm gonna hate him. It is just a genuinely unpleasant experience sitting in the front row. It's like one of the plagues of Egypt, being condemned to sitting in the front row for every movie you want to see for the rest of eternity. It is an absolute miserable experience in the front row of a movie theater. It makes you want to leave. Even if the movie's great, you're not enjoying it because you're battling with your fucking muscles tensing up from staring straight up into the sky, and then your eyes start hurting and feel like they're going to burst out of your skull because you're adjusting them so frequently to make out what shapes are on the screen, and you're squinting the whole time like you're looking up at the fucking sun. There is nothing redeeming about sitting in the front row. From now on, if all that's left is the front row, I'm just not going to see the movie that day. And I think that's probably what a lot of people do, because I know no one likes the front row. I just can't imagine a community of people gathering together as front row movie theater seat enthusiasts. If there is a group of people like that, they must be the most masochistic fucks out there. Oh yes, I just love the front row of movie theaters. I can't get enough of it. Big fan. I also really enjoy my nipples being clamped on by crocodile teeth, and I love sleeping on a bed of used heroin needles. It's just dumb. The front row is fucking dumb, and I can't imagine anyone liking it. I really can't. There's nothing redeeming about it. You actually can't make out what's going on in the movie clearly. It ruins movies. It does. It absolutely does. Now, I've only ever been to like the big chain movie theaters. I haven't been to any mom and pop dine-ins where they give you like a hand job during the movie or anything like that, so I can only speak from experience with the front row and the mainstream ones, and they're all the same. They're all way too fucking close to the screen. I'm assuming there's probably some local theaters that have, come to terms with, no one's going to like this. Let's use some reasoning here. Let's move our front row back quite a bit so it doesn't ruin people's movie watching experience. But for now, all I'm familiar with is the mainstream theaters and their front rows abysmal and needs to be changed. Absolutely has to. If you're watching this mainstream movie theaters, change your fucking front row. Please. Hashtag front row, fuck no. Just a horrible experience. Fuck the front row. Just wanted to get this all out there. That's it. See ya.